I'm David with Bolivar Live, and today I'm here once again with Dan Priest, our insurance, all things insurance, I guess you could say, like we do every week. But Dan, a hurricane hit last week, and one thing we haven't talked about is what agencies do to get ready. You made a comment, once a hurricane, and we talked about this in one of our other shows, once a hurricane gets past a certain area, y'all can't bind any more coverage.
Right.
So there's really nothing you can do as far as getting policies put together. But we've got a hurricane coming, say, it's a week out. We're in that cone of uncertainty. They've called for a voluntary evacuation, or we can see it coming. What does an insurance agency, because now you've got hundreds of people in this cone, or thousands, what does an insurance agency do to get ready? Because once it passes, you've got about 24 hours and your phones are going to light up.
Yeah.
And so take Ike, for instance.
Mm-hmm.
You had business down here like you do now. What did y'all do? And I know technology's changed.
Right. It's changed a lot.
What do y'all do to get ready so that when that 24 hours is up, your phones are ready?
Well, that was a little bit different situation. With Ike, I happened to be in Dallas, and it was just a matter of when we were able.
Y'all evacuated to Dallas?
Me personally,
Okay.
I had staff that went all different directions.
So you send your staff out as soon as you made a comment, as soon as they shut down binding and we're in that cone and we know it's going to be in our area, you look out for the safety of your employees.
Yes, that's the first thing that we're going to want to have happen, because things have changed. So our protocol, and I can't speak for everyone, but I can tell you what we do and what our plan of attack is. When we think that it looks like we're going to be affected by a storm, we answer calls and we stay in touch with our clients, either through email. We'll send a mass email out in the event that is going to happen, and talk to them about what to expect. In the meantime, what's going on in our background, we're developing, we start transforming, because of technology, we transform our phones from an office-driven environment to our cell phones. So our cell phones actually become our office phones. So we have the ability to answer a call in those situations, whether we're driving down the road in Houston, Dallas, or if we're in all different spots.
And you even made the comment, if you answer the phone and it's for Smiley, I'm going to say Smiley.
If it's for Smiley.
Smiley, you can transfer the phone just like it's in the next office.
Exactly. So we can do that. And so kind of getting back,
Here comes the tide.
it's coming in on us. We're going to hurry through this one. So when binding authority ceases, okay, and we've done a show in the past where that occurs. When binding authority ceases, we start talking about getting us in a position so we are able to serve people when they need us on the other side of it. Now, we're still going to answer the phone calls and still do all of that, but we try, if we think that there's going to be a storm, we try to get our folks out early and get them where they need to be, to get them safe and get them in a position to do what they want to do. We have the ability to, now we can Zoom if we want to, but that's not really part of our strategy. It is with cell phones. And get everyone out early. Usually there's somebody that even in our staff that wants to stay, even though we do encourage everybody to leave. There's no point in staying. And once that storm is passed and the phones start coming in, then we're able to operate just like we're in the office.
And you made a comment that you can take satellite images because you know where your customers' homes are, and you can do a pre-assessment.
Absolutely.
You know that you're going to have a house where your house is, and you can go in and look from satellite images and drone images and say, okay, the house, the roof damage, we've got this damage, and start the process even before you talk to a customer. Maybe.
Absolutely. So in Ike, because that's our point of reference here, or like what happened the other week with Ian in Florida, so you can go in and we could look at the satellite imagery and we could see that unfortunately there were slabs. And so we would start making those claims for our clients at that time, even if our clients hadn't reached out, because we knew there was one.
Right.
And you make it and you start the process to get them in the queue earlier, to get an adjuster calling them, because it's inevitable that, that there was a claim, and we could see that. So that was what we do that's what we did.
And then once the customer calls you and says, hey, I just got a picture, my house is gone, you're able to say, look, we've worked off satellite images, we've already started the process for you. You're 2 days ahead, or a day ahead, or a week ahead.
Well, or ahead, or it's just we've already started that when we could. And then, unfortunately, you can't get everybody, but we try to get them moving as fast as possible. And the most important thing is to get someone in the queue early.
And you made a comment when we were talking yesterday. I said, hey, let's talk about what an agency does to get ready for a storm, because we've talked about what the homeowner can do, but let's talk about the agency. And you said, we were going through the steps on what you did during Ike, but you didn't just stop when your customers were taken care of.
No.
You said, David, once we got everyone going, all of our customers going, and things were looking good, I started helping other people that weren't my customers to help them file their claims and get stuff going. You don't see that very often.
No, I think many insurance agents would have done that as well. When we got through with that, and maybe an agency was washed away in a storm, okay, and they're unable to even help their clients. It's sort of
a lot of agencies go in and help each other.
Yeah, that's just humanity. Okay. And so I think anybody would do that. We did do that. We help people start claims, and that's just kind of one of those things. It's just what you do.
Yeah. The storm was last week, so everyone's starting down there. Do y'all get someone on location as soon as they open the gates and say, okay, businesses or insurance homeowners? Down here, they let business owners in first, I think. And then they let homeowners a week later. Do y'all go in as soon as you can get there, or do you work a lot off satellite and other people's images?
I think that depends, and it depends on magnitude, and like with Ike, there was a lot going on here. There was a lot in Bridge City and certain areas. Then when you get into a bigger storm like Harvey was, it's hard to run through all of that.
Because so Harvey covered the whole Texas coast.
Yeah, so it is case by case. When we can, we try to get in and take a look at stuff ahead of the situation. But that also is an adjuster's job. We don't want to step on their toes as well.
And so once the adjuster's called, more or less, is it in his court, or how does that work?
Then we become an interpreter.
Okay.
So yeah, we help the client communicate with the adjuster, because quite frankly, sometimes adjusters speak this insurance language that homeowners don't, and our job becomes to interpret them and assist a client through a claim. Oftentimes clients don't really understand when they get a check, there may still be more money. It's called recoverable depreciation that comes after the fact. And so we assist them in the steps and getting documents to the client, to the adjuster when needed.
Great. Well, as you can see, it's not just getting ready for a storm, and we say it on every show. It's not if it's going to hit, it's when it's going to hit. Down there, they hadn't had a hurricane hit that area since 1921, if I'm not mistaken. And so, we had 30, I think we were at 30 years when Ike came through here, if I'm not mistaken, as far as, bad damage and stuff. And so it may be in one life. You may see one in a lifetime, you may see 2 or 3 in a lifetime. And they were showing this morning when I was watching the Weather Channel, they were showing all the storms that had hit in September. And it started down, I believe, with Harvey or just past Harvey, and more or less covered the whole Gulf Coast from the east coast tip of Florida all the way around. You had, I think, Irma, Ada, Laura, and then several others. But it was really different to see when they hit, but they were all in September. you know.
September's a rough month. You know, and you kind of started on something with all those different storms, and I think all of us kind of want to be amateur meteorologists sometimes, but the truth is every one of those storms is different.
Right.
So you may have a Harvey or an Imelda, which were really small events from the storm part, or even going back to Francis that hit Houston, but it dumped so much rain.
Right.
And then you have Ike, that's a big storm surge,
the whole Gulf,
and a big storm surge event. And then you have what really is like what happened with, looks like to me what happens with Ian, is you have a slow moving storm with storm surge, and then you have 20 or 30 inches of rain, which sort of would combine Ike with a Harvey.
Right.
And it's just going to create a lot of damage that we haven't seen.
And they were talking about coming into the storm, or as the storm was going on, they said 18 foot. It was a category 4 from my understanding, 155 mile an hour winds.
Big.
And they were calling up to an 18-foot storm surge. And at one point, I was watching reporters, and it had blown all the water out of the marinas in the bay.
Mm-hmm.
But
in Tampa.
In Tampa, but then it came in like that, and actually caught people off guard. So our thoughts and prayers have gone out. You've heard me talk about it on a lot of our feeds to all the people in Florida, because man, the way the peninsula is, it just sort of rode up and, you know, affected a lot of people. That was a highly dense populated area, as to where Bolivar wasn't really that populated.
Yeah.
But then you had Galveston, you know, that it affected, and you had Bridge City and Beaumont and stuff. In fact, at one point during Ike, I was talking to a ranger from one of the parks down Sabine area, and they said they clocked a wave, mapped a wave that came, and it washed up all the way, and when it finished, it was behind Ford Park. And I can remember 73 going towards Bridge City from here, a barge sitting on it, and stuff. So anyway, you know, it's not just preparation, getting ready for it. It's actually what your agency can do for you after, and what they do to get ready so that they're ready after that first 24 hours. You know, we've seen pictures come in now for a week, and you know, every day someone finds out something new that happened down there, and it goes on for months now. I can tell you from Ike, it was months. But anyway, Dan, thanks for joining us. Glad we're not talking about what you did
Me too.
on that, because if this front wouldn't have come in, we might not be talking here this morning.
Right.
So anyway, we're going to head on out. We'll be back next week with Dan Priest of Priest Insurance Agency. Remember, if you need any information or want to talk to them and make sure you have the coverage you need, whether it's on the coast, in Beaumont, or any place in Texas, give them a holler, and you can find them online at priestinsuranceragency.com. Dan, thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
Until next time, I'm David with Bolivar Live. Y'all have a great day, great week. Come see us. God bless, and bye-bye. Priest Insurance Agency has been located in the heart of Lumberton, Texas since 2001, providing a consultative approach and educating customers on how their insurance works for them throughout the coastal region of Texas. Priest Insurance specializes in the coastal region of Texas, covering home, auto, business, and recreational insurance. With ties to the coastal communities, Dan Priest has had the sand between his toes since 1972, with a home on Bolivar Peninsula in Galveston County. He survived a storm named Ike, but lost his home. With insurance coverage, his family was able to rebuild following the 2008 storm and continues to make memories beachfront. Priest Insurance specializes in the coastal communities, family dwellings, investment property, and business insurance. They've been there. Whether you're looking for or have a family retreat along the Texas coast, investment property, or a business, Priest Insurance would be honored to work with you and your family to make sure you're covered anytime trouble arises. For more information on Priest Insurance and their contact information, please visit their website at www.priestinsuranceragency.com or their office is open for phone calls with questions and consultation Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. to 5:30 p.m. by calling 409-755-7600. Priest Insurance Agency, working and educating customers, making sure they understand and have the coverage they deserve.